My name is Alexander Elassal. Today I'll be talking about why nonprofit tech changes stall and how leaders can support their teams. Here at OmegaCor Technologies, we work with nonprofits navigating technology changes while staying focused on their mission. Let me ask you a question. Have you ever made a technology decision that made complete sense on paper, but felt much harder once it got to your team? If that sounds familiar, you're not alone. Today, I want to talk about why nonprofit tech changes sometimes stall, what leaders can often underestimate during technology transitions, and how to support their teams throughout the changes without burning them out. So question one, why do good tech changes feel hard for nonprofit teams? Most nonprofit technology changes fail to land because the people feel overwhelmed by the change. Nonprofits rely heavily on volunteers and small teams, many of whom aren't tech-focused. Planning and prep is often underfunded, and changes are layered on top of already full workloads. Even a well-intended improvement can feel like extra stress when teams are focused on serving their mission. This is where leaders start hearing things like, "This used to be a lot easier," or "Why did we have to make this change?" What risks do leaders often overlook during technology transitions? When nonprofits change platforms, most leaders focus on functionality and cost. What often gets overlooked is identity and access. Old accounts don't always get shut down, shared logins carry over, permissions aren't reviewed. These gaps usually aren't intentional, but they create real risks, especially when organizations handle donor data, counseling records, or other sensitive information. We often see these issues surface months later when no one remembers who had access to what. How does change impact trust inside a nonprofit? Technology changes affect more than workflows. They affect trust. When systems change without enough support, staff can lose confidence in their leadership, volunteers can disengage, if they feel uncomfortable or unprepared. Boards start asking the harder questions about cost and timing and risk. This doesn't usually show up as an open conflict. It shows up as a quiet resistance and slower adoption. What helps nonprofit teams adopt new technology successfully? Successful adoption happens when teams feel supported, not rushed. That means explaining why the change is happening, what it will improve, and how people will be supported along the way. Training needs to meet people where they are, not where we wish they were. And leadership needs to stay engaged after launch, not just during the original decision-making. How can nonprofit leaders prepare their teams before making a tech shift? The best outcomes come from preparation, not pressure. When leaders slow down to assess readiness, teams feel safer and more often open to change. That preparation helps identify training needs, assess risks, and communication gaps before they become problems. It's much easier to support people proactively than fix frustration later. What's a simple first step leaders can take right now? Our nonprofit change management and workflow readiness guide is designed to help leaders understand where to focus before making a change. It gives a snapshot of team readiness, training needs, and risk areas. It's not about committing to a project, it's about starting with clarity. If a technology change is on the horizon, preparation makes all the difference. Download our nonprofit change management and workflow readiness guide to see where to focus. No pressure, just clarity. If this was helpful, like or comment so other nonprofit leaders can see it, and follow along for more practical advice.